Hey guys, in this video I'll show you the best tricks and lineups which you can do with neon right here on ascent, and I want to start right here when you are defending on a side. First lineup is very simple. You want to use this when the enemies are pushing on side and you know that they are in this line, in the A main. You can just very simply stand in this close corner and just simply cast your relay bolt just like this. If there's anyone in these spots, they would get stunned all the way here. Unless the enemies are all the way here in the back, but it's quite unlikely. So make sure you wanna try this, and you can combine it with some of your teammates' flashes. If you are retaking A, you can do very simply this with your relay bolt, and anyone who would be close in these spots, you would once again get stunned and you can enter the site much easier. Very similar thing as you did in A main, you can do right here on chart. If you know that the enemies are coming close, you can just very simply stun them like this, and all the way anywhere on chart, if there's anyone close, they would get stunned. If you are playing in B main, there are two ways how you can stun. That's very simple one. It's very simple at the beginning of the round. You can do this, and anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned, so you can try to push them and get some free kills. Or if the enemies are close, you can do a very similar thing as you did before. Just do stuff like this, and anyone who is close is gonna get stunned. Other more useful way how you can stun enemies in B main is this one. You want to combine this with your teammate pushing in, and you just want to simply bounce it off this roof, just like this, of the ceiling. And anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned. So very simply, stand here or anywhere near, and simply aim up in the air, under the ceiling. And anyone who would be here all the way is gonna get stunned. A great way, it covers a lot of space, so definitely try it. If you are retaking B, I find this the most useful. You know, bounce it off this wall, so that way it will hit anyone who is holding on this box. Just very simply throw it like this. That way anyone who would be maybe near or in this corner is gonna get stunned, as well as the player playing on this box. If you are attacking on A, there are two ways how you can use the stun. Firstly, very simply by bouncing off this wall, just like this. That way, if you aim in the middle, it's gonna bounce off all the way into heaven, just like that. Once again, just simply aim in the middle, and it's gonna bounce off into heaven, and anyone who might be playing even behind this box or in heaven is gonna get stunned. A great way how we can use this. And the other way is very simply by aiming into this gap and then throwing it. Anyone who would be behind these dices on the left side is gonna get stunned. But if there's anyone holding more to the left, holding this tight angle, he's not gonna get stunned, so be careful. Or the other way, for this one you have to clear these angles, then you can throw very simply your stun just like this, bounce it off this wall, just like that, and that way it will cover if there's anyone holding close angle right here, or if there's anyone behind the generator. So a very simple yet very useful. On middle, when you are attacking, there is this great one. You wanna aim next to this door frame, and very simply throw it like this. That way it's gonna bounce off and stun anyone who is here in market, or anyone who is here all the way in the back, holding with operator or vandal. Lastly, if you are attacking on B, there are two ways. Firstly, this very simple one, just once again aim next to this door frame right here, and then throw it. That way you won't peek into anyone holding this corner, and if you peek, he's gonna get stunned if there's someone holding it. And this one also gets anyone on stairs, just like this. As you can see, if there would be anyone holding, he has to fall back. Or lastly, more supportive way how you can do this stun is by very simply standing all the way here in the back, and then placing your crosshair above this bar where this window meets the wall, just right here. And then you very simply throw it. This one is gonna get stun anyone here or all the way here on stairs. So if there's anyone holding, he's gonna get stunned and once again has to retreat, and your teammates can very simply push in. Best ways how you can use your fast lines are this way. Firstly, on A side, you can very simply do stuff like this. Just come to this corner and aim pretty much anywhere here, and throw your wall like this. This way you can enter the side, and you can very simply check these close corners, since the enemies would never know where you peek. And if you do that one, I will do that again.
Coming through.
You can go all the way here in the back and really push in. You can clear these corners and then very simply peek behind these boxes and into heaven. And your teammates can follow you and you can gain a lot of space. Another great way how you can use this wall is by simply doing this. Just simply do this, and then you can very simply peek corners. You can jump under heaven, clear this one first, and then this corner. And if you clear that, you can continue in retaking the site. Once again, the same thing works with these doors. Just simply do it like this, and you can anytime peek through this wall into main or into this side if you want to. On B, you should know that you can throw your wall through this window, just by simply doing this. And as you can see, it will split this side, and then you can go in. However, this is quite dangerous, so definitely do it with your flashes and your team following you. However, it's one of the ways how you can use the wall as well. If you are retaking B, there's this way how you can use your wall. It's very simple, do it like this, and now you can go anywhere where you want. You can peek these close corners, and then you can go all the way to site. And we'll start right here when you are defending. Firstly, when the enemies are pushing, you can use your stun like this, your relay bolt, by simply bouncing off of this in A main, and the enemies will get stunned all the way here, and it should win some extra time for your teammates. Another way how you can use your stun ability is by simply doing this. You just want to place your crosshair right here, placing it on this, under these bushes, between those two walls, just like that, and then you throw it. And you want your teammate to push with it, since anyone who would be in front of A main, he'd get stunned. And the most useful stun when you are retaking is probably very simply this one. Just you want to find the little gap in elbow and just simply throw it like this. If you throw it like this, it will stun the whole line right here, and your teammates can push with it, or you can win some extra time. If you are attacking on A, there is not many stuns which you can do. You can very simply try to clear this corner, and if you want to push it more, you can just very simply bounce it off this wall and to stun anyone who is close to you. Or probably the best one which you can do is just very simply stand anywhere in this area and place your crosshair right on this line, this one, and a little bit above it, just right here. And when you throw your relay ball, it should bounce off perfectly, stun anyone here or anyone who is further back. So this one is the easiest one, and you don't have to peek this corner. Of course, you can do it like this as well, and this one is great since it also stuns anyone who will be behind this flower pot. Also, a very simple way how you can stun elbow without peeking it, you can simply bounce it off this flower pot, just like this. Just simply aim at the gray part. And it's gonna land perfectly right here, and if there will be anyone holding any angle like this, he's also gonna get stunned. When you are defending mid from vent, there's not much you can do. You can very simply bounce it off like this and try to push with it maybe if you want to. But if you are here in aiming and you know that the enemies are middle, this one is probably the best one. You just wanna very simply aim anywhere in this area and then very simply bounce it off. That way anyone would be here or in this corner, they would get stunned, and then you can maybe even try to peek with it and get the advantage that you have. However, if you are attacking, there's only one way how you can do this. It's very simply by jumping like this and throwing it at the perfect time, just like that. You want to aim between those two doors so that the stun will work like this and stun anyone who is further or holding close corner as well. Or you can very simply bounce it off into the vent, just like this, under this shadow. It would go perfectly in the vent, or you can do it more to the right if you want to stun a bit more of this and anyone who is closer holding this. It really depends on you and where the enemies are playing. If you are peeking from this side, you can very simply do this. Just simply aim below this, right on this corner, and throw it. And if there's anyone once again holding you, he's gonna get stunned, and you can get the kill and peek with it. If you are playing on B and you want to play aggressive, you can always try doing this, very simply. But be careful, and if you do that one, enemies will be always able to stand in the back and trying to hold you when you peek, so they might not get stunned. If you are retaking B, you can always do this, very simply, just by simply aiming next to this box and bouncing off on the default plant and stunning anyone who would be spawned. Very simple. Or if you're coming out of spawn, there is a simple way how you can do this as well. Just very simply bounce it off of this box or above it, depends where you want to land it. If you bounce it off this box, it's gonna land on the other plant right here. Or if you want to make it further in the back, just do this. and anyone who'd be in the back is gonna get stunned. So it really depends on you and if you know where the enemies are, but it always stuns this default plant. If you are attacking on B, there are two ways that I really like to do. Firstly, very simply, placing your crosshair above this gap right here, and just simply bounce it off of that wall in the back. This one is great since it stuns anyone who is close, and also even anyone who is in the further back, and it allows you to very simply push with it. Just like that. And you have a free way to go, it doesn't stun you or anything. If you wanna stun anyone who is closer to this spot, but still stun anyone close here, you can do this by simply bouncing off with this, but be careful, it can stun you. However, it lands perfectly on the side. This time let's move on to full fast line, and you should know that you can use your fast line like this. Very simply, when you are in A main, just do this. It will go over it and block off the view from the elbow, and then you can it will be much easier for you to clear. You can always run into this line as well, but make sure that you know that there will be some gaps in it, so be careful. When you are defending, you can use your fast line like this. I think this is a really cool trick. You can just very simply do it like this, and then you can play anywhere behind this line, so this spot is really it would be really hard for the enemies to guess that you are there, and it's a really good off angle, or you can be playing anywhere pretty much with it. And lastly, you can do this on ramp. Once again, just aim up and throw it like this, and you can always push with it, try to get yourself in some different position, and there will be also a wall on this spot, so this is a great wall to use as well. On middle, when you are defending and you want to play aggressive, you can try doing this by simply at the beginning of the round do this, throw your stun, and you can be running, then you slide in, and you can try to get a kill or something, by very simply trying to play aggressive like this. And lastly, if you are attacking B, you can always try doing this line, just like this, throw it in the back, and you can simply push with it. You should always check your angles, your corners, and then you can check behind your wall. Very simple to do, and you can win a lot of space for your team by running into side like this. But always combine it with your stun abilities and use your running fast. And we will start right here when you are attacking on A side from this A main. So usually enemies are trying to hold this corner, so you can very simply use your relay bolt like this. Just simply aim right here, and you wanna just simply line it up so that the enemies cannot see you, and then simply throw it right here and bounce it off this corner. Just like that. And anyone who'd be holding you is gonna get stunned, and you can take control of A main much easier this way. After that you gain control of this A main, you wanna try to peek this and check these corners, and then if you wanna push side, you can very simply throw your relay bolt right here and stun anyone on top of the side, under the side, or anyone on stairs. Just very simple like this. It will bounce off and land on these two spots, and even anyone who is under side is gonna get stunned. So this one is really good to use, and it covers a lot of great corners. If you wanna go through doors and two ropes, you wanna stun the ropes, you can very simply do this. Just simply ping yourself where you wanna throw it and bounce it off of the corner, and then simply line it up like this. It's gonna bounce off this corner and stun anyone who would be holding in these spots. If you are pushing this, you can very simply just stun like this on this side, or very simply on the other side as well. And if you do it on the left side, as you can see, it will bounce off all the way to this corner, and it would stun even anyone who would be trying to hold this close corner. And if you are pushing out of this spot, you can very simply just throw your stun like this. So that way it stuns anyone under the platform or anyone close to the stairs. If you are attacking A from these trees, so you can very simply do this at the beginning of the round, so that there is no one trying to peek you on the stairs. And then if you are peeking more and you are trying to push side, there are two spots which you want to stun. Firstly, it's very simply to bounce it off of this back wall, just like this. And if you do that, it's gonna stun anyone who'd be behind these dices, or anyone who'd be at this spot, as you can see, just like that. Anyone holding behind this close corner. And if you want to stun side, just very simply do it like this. It's gonna work perfectly and stun anyone who is here on the back side. If you are pushing from arcade, you can do this stun, just very simply ping shoot your relay or your stun to bounce it off like this from this spot, and it's gonna stun even anyone who would be holding you from this spot. It's gonna bounce off of this wall and land perfectly right here. If you are defending on A side, you can very simply use this wall to bounce off your stun, just like this, and it's gonna land all the way in the back. Or if you want to do it closer, you can always bounce it off of this other wall and cover the close corners right here. And if you are taking side, you can try to bounce it off like this, or above these, just aim above these doors right in the middle of this, throw it, and it's gonna stun anyone who is close to the entrance or anyone who is under the side or on top of the side right here. A great stun to use when you are retaken. When you are playing right here on B, you might want to try doing very simply this to bounce it off like that, and it will stun anyone close to these spots, as you can see, and you can very simply use it when you are peeking, and anyone who would be close to these spots is gonna get stunned. You can do a very similar thing on the other side, but I would recommend you shooting into the ground so that it will bounce off right here. So just simply like this at the beginning of the round, do this, and anyone who would be in these spots is gonna get stunned, and you might try to surprise them with peek in that spot. Of course, when you are defending and you might be in tower, doing stun like this can win you a lot of time since it covers a lot of space on this little long area. And of course, if the enemies are already inside and you are maybe trying to play in post plant, or the enemies are planting here and you are still in tower, you can very simply bounce it off of this wall and stun anyone who would be planting or anyone who's pushing. As you can see, it stuns anyone who would be close to you on stairs or anyone who is right here in the back. There is plenty of ways how you can use your fast line, but for example, you can do this when you're gonna be pushing, and you might wanna try to get at the close corner to fight this guy who might be close, so that in a way you might surprise him and run through your smokes and use it and maybe combine it with your stun ability as well. Another spot where you can use it is right here. You just want to do this, and then you can try to enter the side. You can be close to the wall and try to peek the left side, or be further from this side and try to peek anyone on the ropes. Or you can just very simply jump down and run through your smoke and surprise enemies on side. Or you can do very simply this in aiming. Just simply through these doors, throw it like this, and then you can surprise anyone who would be playing right here at the ropes from many angles, and they might not really expect you to be at that exact spot. And of course, very similar thing works right here on side as well. Just you can do, for example, this and try to surprise enemies at these spots as well. So there's a lot of variations how you can do this. Depends how you want to play it. Lastly, right here on B side, you can very simply do this and do your wall like this. You wanna run through this, and you can always slide through and try to surprise anyone who'd be close or in the tower. And it once again grants you a lot of options how you can play with it, and the enemies might not really expect you to be at any of these spots. Lastly, you can do also this lane, just like this, very simply throw it up in the air, and then you can go at these spots or right here at the arcade and play close range combat with the player who's playing right here in tower. And we will start right here on chart when you are attacking. Firstly, when you are coming here, you can always stun this lamps area very simply by bouncing off this back wall and stunning anyone who would be close. And you can do it from any spot right here on chart. As you can see, anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned. Another simple way how you can use your stun is by simply aiming right here at this track above this K and so simply bounce it off. And it's gonna land perfectly in this corner, stunning anyone who will be trying to play close in this annoying spot. If you are coming out of showers, very simply, you can stun this area by bouncing off this wall, just like that. And anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned very simply. And another one is that you wanna bounce it off of this back wall right here in the lamps, so that way you will support your teammates on short by simply line it up like this. And at the right time, you'll throw it. And if you throw it like that, it should bounce off like this. And anyone who'd be here in these lamps is gonna get stunned, and your teammates can simply push from short. If you are defending, you can always do your stunts like this, very simply by bouncing off of this side, of this wall. And anyone who'd be on short pretty much here when they are pushing is gonna get stunned. So very simply use this, and then you can try to be with it and get some free kills for yourself. If you are retaken, there's plenty of ways how you can do it, but you can always use your stun like this by simply bouncing off of this back wall, just like that. It will stun anyone who is behind these boxes and anyone who will be close on this side. And of course, stunning area in lamps is not a bad idea as well, and it's pretty easy to stun anyone who would be here by simply bouncing off this wall. Another great simple trick is that you can throw your stun abilities through this TP, so by simply doing this. You can aim pretty much anywhere where you want, and anyone who would be on the other side is gonna get stunned right in front of Hookah, just like this. As you can see, the enemies would get stunned. It really depends on the angle which you use, so make sure that you try that, and so that way it is as effective as possible. And of course, you can use your stun to bounce off of this back wall to stun anyone who would be in these corners or anywhere else. So simply use these back walls in your advantage, and you can get really creative with it. When you are attacking on B in Hookah, there's plenty of ways that you can use your stun. You can simply bounce it off of this wall, or then on the other side as well, and simply cover this left or the right area by simply doing these. Since these work fantastic and there's not much else that you need to do. If you are coming out of Hookah, there's plenty of ways that you can bounce off your stun. For example, like this. This way it would land at this corner and it would stun anyone who would be holding this corner, or you can do it this way as well if you want to stun only that corner. The other way, if you want to stun into tube, you can bounce it off this box, just like this. And anyone who would be in the tube is gonna get stunned. And of course, you can do a very similar thing for the backside by bouncing off of this back wall. By doing something like this. And anyone who would be behind this tube is gonna get stunned. Another thing that you can do right here from Hookah is you can stun anyone who's holding here by not even peeking, and by simply just bouncing it off this wall and stun it like this. And anyone who would be here and elbow either in this or in this corner is gonna get stunned. Very simple. On the other hand, if you're coming out of long, there's also plenty of ways that you can do this. One of my favorite ones is by simply bouncing it off this side of the wall, just by simply aiming anywhere in this area and bouncing it off. It's gonna land right here, and it's gonna stun anyone who's in this corner, and it's gonna fly into the tube and stun anyone who is there as well. Another way how you can do it, just by simply aiming next to the corner, just right here, and then throw it. It's gonna bounce off and land in the backside, so that way it's gonna bounce off this corner and anyone standing in this area who might be holding Hookah from your teammates. So you can do this and try to help them out. Another way is by simply stunning in this corner like this. And also anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned. Very simple. Another thing that I should mention, you can stun this spot and this spot as well by simply doing this without peeking. Anyone who would be holding here in this area with operator or here is gonna get stunned. And if you are already on long and you wanna check if there's anyone in this corner, make sure you bounce it off this back wall. This one, just like this. That way it's gonna land more in the middle and cover more space than if not only if you would bounce it off of this side of the wall, it would only land right here, and this one covers the whole side. This whole spot, I mean. If you are defending with neon, there's plenty of ways how you can do it, but if you are in tube, it's probably the best one, since you can bounce it off of many things. For example, if the enemies would be pushing from long, you can simply bounce it off like this, and it can stun anyone long, or you can aim even lower and stun this area. It really depends on you, and make sure you know how high to aim. On the other side, you can do a very similar thing, and you can just simply bounce it off into Hookah by simply aiming at this shadow, like this. It would stun anyone who is close to you, or anyone who would be close at this Hookah spot. So once again, very useful. You can also be trying to do these jump spotting and then trying to stun them by simply doing this. You would stun anyone who would be here in this close area. If you are retaking from elbow, you can also try doing this by simply bouncing over this back wall. It's gonna land perfectly in the tube and stun even anyone who would be close at this area, but most importantly in the tube or close around it. Best fast lanes right here on A are probably these ones. You can very simply do this and then very simply push it, and your teammates can follow you safely, and then you can get into this quiet safe spot and be trying to pre-aim anyone who would be standing in this area. Another way how you can do this is by simply doing your wall this way, And then you can see above this fire at some point. You can be trying to see if there's anyone, and they would have a hard time spotting you since they cannot see you and they would not be really aiming at this specific spot. If you are going out of shower, there's plenty of ways. You can, for example, do this. This way you can run into the side, or you can do it more to the right, just like this. And you can get yourself pretty deep on site. As you can see, you can go all the way here without them spotting you. Once again, a very cheeky tactic, and it can really work sometimes if there's enough panic on the site. If you are coming out of hookah, you can once again do your wall like this and very simply follow your fire and try to check back side, and when it goes out you can maybe hide in this spot and just be trying to preempt this spot so you know that there's no one holding you, and this is quite safe spot as well. Right here from long you can do very simply this, the same way as you did before. Once again you can go all the way here and check spawn, or you can very simply just run all the way to spawn without the enemy spotting you. But be careful, they can always go inside of your line. And we'll start right here when you are defending. There's plenty of ways how you can play, and you can play aggressive right here at the beginning of the round just by simply pushing and then throwing your stun, bouncing off this wall and peek anyone who would be here. The timing is great since when you enter, the enemies will be exactly at these spots and you can easily stun them. When you're attacking on an A, you can simply bounce it off of this box, of this panel, just like this. Just simply peek it like that, and anyone who would be here in the backside or anyone who would be holding maybe this corner is gonna get stunned. Very simple. Of course, when you are pushing, you can bounce off your stun off this wall, just very simple like this, and that way you will stun anyone who is behind this box or close to it. Of course, you can stun anyone who is behind these by maybe simply bouncing off of this, just like that, and anyone who would be here in this area is gonna get stunned as well. Of course, you can use your stun like this as well. That way you will stun anyone who would be here at this box trying to hold you. Very simple. When you are retaking A site, you can very simply do your stun right here, just like that. So that way you will stun anywhere in this area. Anyone who would be here is gonna get stunned. And also when you are retaking, you can do your stun very simple like this. You'll stun a bit behind this corner as well if there's someone holding it, or you can very simply just use your stun and bounce it off this wall and try to hit anyone who would be here and hiding behind this pyramid. Right here in cube, if you know that there is someone hiding here, you can simply bounce off your stun off this back wall and it's gonna work fantastic. The enemy is gonna get definitely stunned every time. If you are attacking on B, you can use your stun in these spots. You can simply bounce it off this back wall like this. It's gonna stun anyone who would be in these spots, and you can combine it with your second one by simply doing this and stunning all of these corners, so that if the enemy is hiding anywhere in these spots, he's definitely gonna get stunned every time, and you can simply enter. So once again, just do this. Anywhere here is gonna get stunned. Other way how you can use your stun is by simply bouncing off of this wall, just right here. And you can simply stun anyone who would be in this close corner. So once again, simply like this. And lastly, if you aim on this metal pillar, metal part, and bounce it off of that, it's gonna land right here, and anyone who would be here at this spot trying to wait for you when you enter is gonna get stunned as well. If you are retaking, there's plenty of ways how you can use your stuns by simply bouncing off of this whole back wall. So if you're coming out of the tunnel, just simply bounce it off of this middle part, and anyone who would be here in the back is gonna get stunned, as you can see. Very simple. The same thing works for if you're retaking from here. You can by simply do it like this, or very simple like this as well. Just you have to put your creative mind into it and try to imagine where it can bounce off. So very simple and very easy and intuitive to use right here. With your fast line, you can do very simple stuff like this. This way you can get yourself all the way here in the back of the site without enemies really expecting you to be here. Or you can, there's other way how you can do it, but you make sure you get these corners, and then you can do it like this. And then when you are running, you can simply run around the pyramid and try to surprise anyone who might be behind this wall. If you are attacking on B by simply doing this wall, creates this little space right here on the right side, and with it you can follow it and try to peek in the back. Very simple to use and really intuitive once again. Or you can do it a bit more like this. So this way you can get all the way here in the back of the side. And since it's a bit secure spot, you have to, if you get yourself in this corner, you have to only worry about this one, and then you can turn around and try to kill anyone who might be trying to hide here in the backside. But be careful, the enemies can see you from this tunnel, so make sure it's smoked off, or your teammates are watching that. And we will start right here when you are attacking icebox on a side. So firstly, you wanna get yourself in this position, or you can be all the way here below, and you can simply bounce off your stun ability right on top of this. Very simple like that. This way, anyone who'd be in this corner or right here is gonna get stunned. So, and you can do this from the pipes as well, just like this. As you can see, anyone who'd be here in the back or on top of this is gonna get stunned. The other way for the most common spot is right to bounce it off of these pipes by simply doing this. That way anyone who is gonna be here or anyone who would be here on site is gonna get stunned. Another very simple lineup. And lastly, another very useful spot is to simply bounce it off of this back side, of this back corner, just like this. It's gonna bounce off and land right here on top, since usually enemies can be trying to hold this spot or simply holding this, so that way you can stun them very simply. Another tip that you should know when you are defending, you can very simply jump from this right here on this corner. As you can see, you just have to be running and jump it on this corner. Just like this, very simple. And you can do this anytime you want, just you should practice it. It's pretty easy, but should definitely give it 1 or 2 tries. Great thing for retaking is that when you hit the top of the ceiling, it will stun anyone who is right below it. So if you do this, it's gonna stun anyone who'd be planting or anyone who'd be in these spots. So very simply, you can make sure, if you notice, enemies are anywhere here, and you can simply bounce it off the top of this. And if you are very simply retaking from here, just simply do these stuns. So that way you will stun anyone who'd be in these spots. Just simply use this back wall. Very easy to use. And if you want to be playing aggressive, you can definitely try stunning this area at the beginning of the round and then peeking it. There's plenty of ways how you can stun it, and all of them work pretty much the same. If you are pushing on B, you can simply do this stun. You have to crouch and aim on top of this, in this little gap, and just simply throw it. And it's gonna stun anyone who might be holding this corner from the back of this, since it's pretty common for enemies to stand in the back too, so that they have the advantage. And you can simply stun them by simply bouncing off of this. It also stuns anyone who would be right behind this box if they push at the beginning of the round. If you think that the enemies push, you can very simply use this stun. So that way, all of these spots it's gonna get stunned, and the enemies, you can push them after that. And of course, stunning like this, of this back wall, it's gonna stun anyone who'd be, most importantly, in this corner, and also anyone who'd be right behind this box. So definitely do that. If you are pushing also, there can be someone behind yellow, so you can simply stun him by bouncing off of this back wall, and it's gonna land perfectly right here. If you are defending, you can do this at the beginning of the round, so that way you can simply push with it and try to surprise enemies who might be playing here. And you can combine it with both of your stuns if you are afraid that the enemies will be here as well. So just simply do this. That way the enemies won't be here as close, and you just have to worry about this far angle. If the enemies are pushing you, just simply bounce out of these walls, just like this. That way anyone who would be close is gonna get stunned, and even anyone who is far. There's plenty of ways how you can do it. So just know how high you wanna aim, so that way where it pops. Right here on A, there's plenty of ways how you can use your fast line. For example, like this. So with this one, you can very simply try to pre-aim this corner and then maybe go even backside, and you can gain a lot of cover, a lot of ground for your team. Or another way how you can simply do this is, you wanna be on pipes right here, and then do this. With this one, you can be right here in this corner, and you can make this jump very simply without even running, and the enemies cannot really spot you. So you can just simply do this. and get yourself in some annoying spots and check all of these corners. And lastly, you can also use your wall just like this. So that way you can run on the right side of it and clear the right side of the site and then go all the way to backside. Very simple, and definitely use it with your teammates pushing with you. Right here on B, you can, if you know that there's someone behind yellow, you can do your wall simply like this. And then try to surprise the enemy from the right side. You can simply run all the way in the back and try to surprise him from these spots. And also, if you will aim right here and you will do your wall like this, you can simply climb up and the fire will cover your right and left side, so that way you can get safely into kitchen and try to surprise enemies from this deep angle. And you will start right here on A side when you are attacking. So very simply, you can use your stun by simply bouncing out of this back wall right here. That way you will stun anyone who is behind this green box, and they cannot really peek when they are stunned. So you just do this when you are pushing, and anyone who will be here is gonna get stunned. Very simple. The other way how you can do this is by simply bouncing out of this, just like that. Aim right here and it will bounce off and land perfectly right here on short and stun anyone who will be here. But when it bounces off this, it's not gonna stun that deep. As you can see, it's gonna stun only this area. So anyone who will be here is gonna be without stun, so careful. If you are coming out of short, you can simply stun backside with this, or bounce it of this wall, right, like this, and it's gonna land perfectly. And it depends how high you aim, and that far it will go. If I aim a bit higher, it will land all the way here in the back. Of course, when you are pushing out of short, you should do this to make sure that there is no one holding you on the right side, or you can do this for the other side as well, and try to pick this guy who might be holding this corner. If you are defending A side, you can simply bounce it off of this, like that, and it's gonna stun anyone here on the ramp. There's plenty of ways that you can do it, even from the other side or from here. Doesn't really matter, it still stuns the ramp and anyone who is close. And also, if you are retaking, you can use your stun like this to stun anyone under heaven all the way here in the back. Right here on B, there are two ways how you can use your stun. Firstly, by simply bouncing off of this back wall, so that way you will stun backside, and this corner right here. Or you can do it on the other side as well. It doesn't really matter which side you do. Or you can very simply bounce off like this on either side. It's gonna work the same and cover these spaces perfectly. And of course, when you are retaking, you can try doing this one by simply bouncing off these back walls and in these spots, so the enemies can get stunned. Or you can after that do simply this corner, or very simply this one, if you know that there is someone playing there. Of course, you can do the same thing for window, and you can use it when you are pushing on at the beginning of the round, or when you know that the enemies might be playing post plan there. Right here in garage, there's this simple box, and you can bounce it off of it every time. So if you do this, anyone who'd be indoors is gonna get stunned. It matters how high you aim. That way it will stun either here or all the way here in the back. But anyway, it will stun at least anyone close to these doors. The same thing works on the other side. For this one, you have to aim at this high part of the box and simply bounce it off of this. That way, if you do that, it's gonna stun anyone who'll be behind this box or anyone who'll be in window, as you can see. So once again, it will look like this. It will stun anyone who's here or anyone who's in the window. Very simple. On C, you can try doing this by simply bouncing off this back wall, and then it's gonna land right here. Anyone who might be here in the backside is gonna get stunned, and most importantly, this guy. But if you wanna make sure that you wanna stun this 100% of the time, just simply bounce it off of this. Just like that. Of course, there's plenty of ways you can throw it in the backside as well, or you can cover this corner as well, just by simply aiming higher. And make sure that no one picks you here, just bounce it off the back wall right there. Very simple. And you can simply defend B, C with these, just by simply doing this, or you can do it on the other side as well. And lastly, if you know that there's someone hiding here, just simply do your stuns like these, and he's definitely gonna get stunned 100% of the time. There is no way he can avoid it in this cubby. For your fast line, you can very simply do this to split the side and then run in the back, and you can surprise enemies from these spots. Or the other way around with it is by simply doing this. This way you can go like this and check the right side, and you can go through this and check these corners as well if you want to. But make sure your teammates go with you. On long you can do a very similar thing by doing this. This way no one can see you from heaven, and you can enter the site from the back very simply. Of course this works on B as well. Just simply make yourself this line like this, and then you can enter or sneak your way in here if you want to. Or this works of course for the other side as well. Just like that. Very simple. And lastly you can do this on C, where it is especially handy. Just do this and run on your left side and make sure you clear the left side of this. And there is no way that the enemies will go through two walls, since they would reveal themselves for this long area, and then they would have to go through the other one and try to peek you. So definitely do this one. It is very great, very good fall, and you can just simply clear the left side, go all the way here in the back and get yourself in some safe spot. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and see you guys soon. Bye.